Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. Artificial intelligence is developing rapidly, and so does the news cycle around it. This week, Europe and the US announced that they are drafting a voluntary code of conduct for AI. From authorities to major players in tech, we all seem to share this growing AI anxiety. But are these growing calls for regulation leading us in the right direction? Saris searches to answer that question.
I think if this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong.
As artificial intelligence leaps forward, the pioneers who built this technology are sounding alarms. Over 350 executives and researchers, from OpenAI's Sam Altman to the recently retired godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, released a single-sentence warning in an attempt to save the world from destruction. Mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority, alongside other societal-scale risks, such as pandemics and nuclear war.
The existential threat, the idea it might wipe us all out, that's like nuclear weapons, because nuclear weapons had the possibility they would just wipe out everybody, and that's why people could cooperate on preventing that. And for the existential threat, I think maybe the US and China and Europe and Japan can all cooperate on trying to avoid that existential threat.
While the very leaders coding our future with AI are so open to discussing future risks, they're not talking about the issues of today. A doomsday-level AI threat may no longer be science fiction, but more immediate issues, like the bias of their tools, are already harming society.
It's also starting to make people a lot of money. Employers are now getting access to a super smart workforce that can work all hours of the day without needing lots of money for pesky things like eating or pensions. This is a bad thing for people who like to work for money.
We are sending out emails constantly saying we do not make AI content for our clients because we're liable, because we have not even begun to talk about the trademark and copyright issues of AI.
On the one hand, there's basically an arms race in the private sector to push forward on AI development. And these types of arms races don't give us enough time to put guardrails on things, and people also get a little bit sloppy. Talks about the potential for job disruption and what that could mean for society. And yes, that is a big problem, as is the potential and the default setting for AI to largely concentrate wealth in the hands of a few, if we don't think through this properly.
Skeptics wonder whether signatories are acting with the purest intentions. Are they doing everything in their power to warn the public, or just distracting lawmakers with tackling hypothetical problems they're not capable of solving?
Trading should be licensed.
Yeah, we've been calling for this.
Ryan Callow, an academic, believes that AI is only threatening humanity by accelerating existing trends of wealth and income inequality. Many others, like him, believe that such calls are only giving these tech giants the opportunity to gatekeep their business. And when you have the CEO of the AI powerhouse threatening to pull ChatGPT out of the EU if it gets too regulated, can you really blame them?
Now, for another story that's straight out of a sci-fi flick, you might have heard about Elon Musk's mind-blowing project Neuralink. It's a medical company that's developing a device that can tap into our brain waves and link them up with computers. Since its foundation in 2016, Musk has publicly outlined an ambitious plan for Neuralink. Let's take a look.
Be implanted in your skull. So you basically take out a chunk of skull, put the Neuralink device in there, you'd insert the electrode threads very carefully into the brain.
They first intend on aiming to cure conditions like obesity, autism, depression, schizophrenia, and even allow paralyzed individuals to walk again. And then if that's successful, move on to being able to directly connect you to the devices that we use all day and control them telepathically. And this one might be a bit further out. But he even said that it would be possible to one day communicate with one another instantly without saying a word.
Now, it's just been given the green light from the US Food and Drug Administration to kickstart its first-in-human clinical study. So, any volunteers? Well, not so fast as they're not recruiting anyone just yet. And even so, I would think twice, as the company has struggled to gain FDA's approval before. The administration highlighted various concerns. These included damage to the brain as a result of wire shifting, device removal, and potential battery-related issues. And Neuralink is currently under investigation for animal welfare violations, with reports of mishandled experiments leading to unnecessary suffering and fatalities. Allegedly, these incidents involved surgeons using incorrect surgical tools, implanting devices in the wrong location, and utilizing devices of incorrect sizes. Let's face it, Elon Musk is not known for being ultra-cautious when it comes to experiments and research studies. Some concerned netizens reminded us of the failed SpaceX launch and how it exploded after basic safety features were ignored. But if the test proves successful, Neuralink could change us and everything. And it might be just the beginning of our problems.
This all actually turns out successful, we're gonna have to start seriously talking about some issues. Like, would it be discrimination if a company only wanted to hire someone with a Neuralink brain chip? Would advertisers be able to collect data? Would we be creating a hyper-efficient offshoot of humans that would have an unfair advantage? Do we ban them in schools? Would there even need to be schools if you had access to all information instantly? And that's just the start of it. So the question is, does today mark the start of something amazing for humanity? Or is it the beginning of the end?
Ever wanted to turn back time or wish you looked 5 years younger? Well, tech almost billionaire Bryan Johnson is turning back the biological clock. He's determined to make his body 27 years younger. He wants the brains, heart, lungs, skin, tendons, etc. of an 18-year-old. And he even takes his own son's blood to get it. Here's father and son. Dad is on the right. This year alone, Johnson Sr. will spend around $2 million on over 30 doctors and health specialists, drugs, medical and exercise equipment to help him defy nature and reverse the aging process. And he has had some success. Recent tests suggest the 45-year-old has the heart of a 37-year-old, the skin of a 28-year-old, and the lung capacity and fitness of an 18-year-old. So apart from having his son's plasma fed into his own veins, here's what else Johnson does to become a real-life Dorian Gray. Johnson sleeps and wakes at exactly the same time every day. He exercises for an hour, 3 times a week. He goes full intensity. He ingests 24 supplements and puts on that crazy hat to monitor brain waves and the blood flowing in his head. His daily diet comes in at exactly 1,977 calories. It's mostly vegan mulch.
No matter how extreme I've had to be, no matter how eccentric people perceive me to be, because I'm outside the norms, demonstrating that age can be arrested would change everything.
We recently reported on ByteDance's new Pinterest killer app, Lemonade. Following its launch, the app was briefly the top download on the App Store in the US. Dubbed the love child of Instagram and Pinterest, Lemonade is full of aesthetic outfits, room inspos, and productivity tips. It lets you doodle your pictures and caption them to your heart's desire in a way that's reminiscent of the microblogging aspect of early 2010s social media. The perfect platform for that girl. No wonder why many influencers were expecting it to become the next big thing. But don't get too excited just yet, because almost 2 months after Lemonade's launch, the hype around the app seems to be fading and fast. While it may be too early to call, platforms like these do have a tendency to fall short of the hype. The app may be promising an escape from Instagram influencers' marketing cycle to more authentic content creators. But let's face it, spending a lot of editing pictures to gather a following is not everyone's cup of tea.
I always try out new social media apps, and usually I'll reach a certain amount of success, but I finally found one that I am completely lost on. I saw Clapper being recommended a lot as a TikTok alternative if it gets shut down, and it's exactly like that. I posted my short form content and reached an audience fairly quickly. This was not the case on Lemon 8. I want to show you a bit of what my recommended looks like. Aesthetic, cutesy, bloggy, a vibe I can never quite capture. I am truly not an aesthetic person, and I try so hard. The amount of effort I put into these, I'm so embarrassed. To reiterate, 0 likes. And it's not like my shit isn't being pushed either. I had one that got hundreds of views, and everyone who saw it was like, No, I haven't experienced this type of rejection in a while. It's refreshing.
Now, we can't know if Lemonade is going to be the next big thing or the next Be Real. Remember last summer's Frenzy app, which some claimed would change social media forever? Now it's struggling to remain even relevant. Less than 10% of the 53 million users who downloaded it in 2022 still remain on the app. Okay, that sounded a bit too bleak about the future of social media. These apps break the internet when they launch for a reason. Many users are unhappy about today's de facto digital spaces, hence the search for non-toxic social media. But whether these smaller spaces with an emphasis on community building will stick around remains to be seen. All right, on to what's trending. Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid has been the talk of the town ever since its announcement. While it has a dedicated fan base, the film has also received online hate, specifically racist complaints targeting Halle Bailey's casting as the beloved mermaid Ariel.
Ariel isn't black. Ariel is white. Why would they make Ariel black? Ariel's a fish.
Listen, I'm not racist, bro. I'm not racist. It's just not true to the story. Ariel is not black. Bro, she is a fish. She's a white fish.
So they will say, it's not about representation. You shouldn't, who cares who plays the role? All that matters is the best person gets the job. And it's like, have you heard Halle Bailey sing? It is the best person for the job. You're angry about who the best person was.
Is it a wish I could use? She's a black girl.
She's black! She's black! Yes! She's black! Mama, she's black! What?
Since its release last week, the movie attracted mixed reviews from the audience. However, it seems that a section of the online audience reviews has been artificially influenced by what's known as review bombing. This malicious practice involves swarming movie reviews sites with negative ratings by using bots to undermine a film's success. Well, The Little Mermaid got review bombed so hard that the online media database, IMDb, had to change its entire rating system. The site now publishes weighted vote averages to ensure reliability when an unusual voting activity is detected.
Ever since newer clips have been coming out, I've tried to be more open-minded and maybe it's not as bad as I thought. But myself, along with other creators, have pointed out that they ruin Flounder, they ruin Sebastian, they ruin Scuttle. It looks like bad acting, bad CGI, bad everything. It doesn't even look like she's underwater.
Well, despite the backlash and review bombing, the film has triumphed at the US box office, claiming the top spot during its opening weekend. In fact, it secured its place as the 5th highest grossing release in history on Memorial Day weekend. Currently, it holds a solid 7-star rating on IMDb, while critics on Rotten Tomatoes have given it a 68% score. And that's our show. Find us on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. Bye, and see you next time.